Ladies and gentlemen, your YouTube luchador weighing in at more weight than he probably should have, at a height at 5'5". This is Vargas! What you gonna do when the Vargas takes YouTube by storm and runs wild on you? Hello YouTube, this is Vargas recording live in the squared circle of the Vargas Vault with another wrestling DVD review. This time I am sporting the mask not of the Vargas, the Mexican brawler, but of the Parka. Now, La Parka is, of course, a wrestler that if you saw early WCW, you would see he was a Mexican luchador that fought Goldberg and lost really quick. But he's a staple of AAA, but of course there's a whole backstory. But the reason I am wearing La Parka mask is because I am going to talk about the Dead Man, the Undertaker, and La Parka is a Grim Reaper, so Grim Reaper, Dead Man. It made sense. And when I put the mask on. But I'm also sporting the World Heavyweight Championship big gold belt itself because this is also a championship that I relate the most with The Undertaker because he held and defended this title the most number of times compared to the WWE Championship. And the DVD I wanted to review this time around is Tombstone, the history of the Undertaker 3-disc set. This released in 2005. So unfortunately, I'm going to put this on the side here. Unfortunately, this one doesn't have the prettiest packaging compared to some later releases from the WWE. In later releases, you would get a much thicker box that would open up 3 discs, probably a slipcase. But no, this came out in an era when they would do a single disc for wrestlers, or if you were lucky, 2 discs. But the Undertaker, being the Phenom, got a 3-disc set. But like I said, it's a standard DVD case with your 3 discs here. Your insert, disc number 1. Showcasing classic Undertaker. And you have disc numero 2. Showcasing Ministry Undertaker. And disc numero 3. Showcasing Modern Undertaker. Thankfully, doesn't have American Badass here on the cover of the discs. You have your classic Undertaker. And in your insert, you have your disc and match selection. So, this particular copy actually belonged to my brother. I mentioned this before. I was a huge Hogan fan. I would say my prayers and eat my vitamins. My brother leaned more towards The Ultimate Warrior. And then to The Undertaker. My brother at first was a much bigger fan of The Undertaker than I was. Again, I was a Hulkamania guy. But throughout the years, I've grown to respect and admire The Undertaker as a wrestler, and the whole mystery of his gimmick of being, a dead man. Then he got buried alive. Then we had the 2 Undertaker things, which is not on this disc. Then, of course, he went away for a while. Well, then he was the Undertaker, the sadistic Undertaker from the corporate ministry, that crucified Stone Cold Steve Austin, abducted Stephanie McMahon, and was just more vicious overall. Then he disappeared for a while and came back in what a lot of people like, but was kind of hit or miss for a lot of people. And that was his American Badass persona, where he would ride in the motorcycle and everything. So the appeal and mystery of the dead man was taken away, and you had only the Undertaker, who was still, you know, well, even though when he came back he was kind of chunky, but he got back into shape, and he produced good matches. That Hell in a Cell with Brock Lesnar was really cool. His fights with Angle, that Raw match with Jeff Hardy, all in all pretty cool. And this Tombstone, the history of the Undertaker, showcases all of that from his beginnings all the way to his comeback, passing through the American Badass. So this is the insert, and I will read the discs, the matches included in the disc. So disc 1, and this one is one of the few occasions where you don't get a Undertaker documentary in the first disc, and then disc 1 and 2 are matches. This is actually just a full-blown history of the Undertaker. Before the big matches or the big conversation, they will talk about the history of behind the match, or something like it. But it's not its own documentary for the Undertaker. It's just introduction of a match, and then what happens afterward. So this one has the WWE Championship match of Undertaker versus Hulk Hogan at Survivor Series 91. Then you have the casket match against Yokozuna in 94. That's when he got a lot of people came into that match and beat up on the Undertaker. So it took a good chunk of the roster, of the heel roster, to help Yokozuna and then put the Undertaker in a casket match, and that's when he disappeared. Then you have the one in Diesel, the match against Diesel in WrestleMania 12. Then the Buried Alive match against Mankind. The WWE Championship match versus Mankind in Your House in 97. The Championship match versus Bret Hart in SummerSlam 97. Undertaker attacks Hulk Hogan at the funeral home. Undertaker builds a casket for Yokozuna. Undertaker in the graveyard talks about Diesel. These are all just promos. Undertaker interrupts Mankind's interview. And you have WWE Championship match versus Bret Hart. Then in disc 2, you have Shawn Michaels match in Your House. The Hell in a Cell match between Undertaker and Shawn Michaels in Bad Blood 97. That's when Kane came into the scene. Then you have his match against Kane at WrestleMania 14, which took 3 Tombstone pile drivers to take Kane out. And the introduction of Kane was really cool. I really liked Kane when he was introduced, because he was like a monster. He had this whole fire thing and his mask. I love masks, as you can probably tell. I just love a well-designed mask, and the mask of Kane when he premiered was freaking amazing. And I wish I could find that mask somewhere, but I love the design of the mask of Kane. Then an Inferno match between Undertaker and Kane and Unforgiven. Then, of course, the legendary, historic, and often put into any segment with WWE, the Hell in a Cell match between Undertaker and Kane. Undertaker and Mankind, where Undertaker and Mankind are at the top of the cage, and then, Mankind takes that dive, and Jim Ross like, oh my God, as God is my witness, Mankind's broken in half. So that's probably the WWE match that I've seen the most, because it's a very cool match, but it's also the kind of match that WWE puts on a lot of compilations. It's in the Undertaker one, it's in the Mankind one, it's in the Hell in a Cell DVD, and there's a couple of other instances where they put that match in there. But there's a reason for that, because it's a really good match. Then it has the WWE Championship match versus The Rock. Then Undertaker interview about Shawn Michaels. Undertaker talking to his parents' tombstones when he's feuding with Kane. And then this 3 has the WWE Championship First Blood match against Stone Cold Steve Austin. A match with Triple H at WrestleMania 17. I believe that was a no holds barred match. Undisputed Championship match versus Hulk Hogan at Judgment Day 2002. Hell in a Cell match versus Brock Lesnar at 2002 again. Really good match, but they had to stop that one because Undertaker got really fucked up. Brock Lesnar had broken the Undertaker's hand, So and then he just busted him open real bad and just kicked the hell out of him until they actually had to stop the match because the Undertaker was bleeding real bad. And that one had a really cool scene at the end where Brock Lesnar's at the top of Hell in a Cell, all covered in the Undertaker's blood, and has the title and just lifts it up. That was really cool. But again, it was kind of hard to see the Undertaker get beat up like that. Then match with against John Cena in 2003, Buried Alive match versus Mr. McMahon. This was the American Badass version, and in that match, Kane interfered, buried the Undertaker, and that thankfully gave way to the return of the Dead Man in WrestleMania 20 against Kane. Not as memorable as their first match in WrestleMania 14, I have to say, and that's the last match in the disc, because again this came out in 2005. And then promo Undertaker interview about Triple H, Undertaker promo on Hulk Hogan, Undertaker talks about Hell in a Cell, Undertaker on the Graveyard promo when he was going to fight Vince McMahon in Buried Alive. And it also has an Undisputed Championship match against Kurt Angle from SmackDown 2003, which is really cool. That one's also very, very cool, that match right there. So you have a lot of really good match selections. It does remove some stuff, like I said, the Undertaker versus Undertaker match. I remember when they were promoting that, me and my brother were like, what, how can there be two Undertakers? That makes no sense, two Undertakers. And it wasn't until after that because we couldn't afford to buy the pay-per-views, so we never saw the pay-per-views. We watched them later on somehow, and that one was really weird. And of course you have Paul Bearer here, and all of the stages of the Undertaker from everything he's gone through in the Undertaker. So if you're an Undertaker fan, I would definitely recommend it. Again, it's not a documentary like they usually do. The documentaries that WWE does are usually pretty cool. I'm guessing they didn't do it on this one to keep the mystique of the Undertaker, as a phenom, and so doing a documentary might seem a little weird. But it would have been cool. I know there's a number of Undertaker DVDs out there. I own 3, and most recently they had 2 versions of the streak. Because the big thing about the Undertaker also was that he had a WrestleMania streak. He had an undefeated streak until he fought Brock Lesnar, and he took that away. But if you're an Undertaker fan, I would definitely recommend you get this one. It has all of his most iconic matches in this. The Hell in a Cell match itself is worth the price of admission. I know this is out of print, and so it might be a little hard to come by. And I know this was going for a lot of money, not a lot of money, but it was pretty up there before Undertaker lost to Brock Lesnar. And most of these matches you could probably, like I said, that the Hell in a Cell match with Mankind you could probably get in a whole bunch of other WWE releases. But if you're a pure Undertaker fan, I would definitely recommend you get it. Like I said, this is my brother's copy. He was a little, he was getting rid of some stuff, so I bought it off him like super quick. But I was able to get a second copy for my brother, so I gave him that copy, but I kept the original copy for myself because this was my brother's, and then he passed it down to me, so it has that continuation for me. It has sentimental value. But I was able to get a second copy for him, and I gave it to my brother because he's still a huge Undertaker fan. He was kind of upset when he lost the streak, and putting the belt back on, big gold belt. That's another thing because this one came out in 2005, so it missed a bunch of the Undertaker's matches for big gold belt. It doesn't have his title defenses in WrestleMania. When he won it off Edge, and then when he defended against Batista, a couple of Hell in a Cell one. That one came after, and there's a DVD that has that. But yeah, definitely recommend that one. That one's really, really cool. I don't know. He obviously when the streak was destroyed by Lesnar, I felt he should have retired after the end of an era match. Personally, I think that was a good time to retire. But then he got into that fight with CM Punk, then the Brock Lesnar match. Then he fought against Bray Wyatt. And last year he fought against Roman Reigns, lost, and then left his gear on the middle of the ring. That's signifying that he retired. But now, this year, John Cena's calling him out. And for many years, people thought that John Cena and The Undertaker should fight. But now it seems too late because The Undertaker, he's on years. He's not as quick as he used to be. And unfortunately, that was proven in, the Roman Reigns match. And then the Brock Lesnar, we got a concussion real fast. So, and also there's rumors going around that, Undertaker retired the Deadman persona, and what we might get in this WrestleMania is John Cena versus the American Badass, and that does not appeal to me at all. Undertaker should really retire. He's a great wrestler, but if the Undertaker comes back as the American Badass and loses, then that's gonna tarnish his legacy. I feel. It's still going to be awesome to see him, and it's going to be awesome to quite possibly see him fight against John Cena, because this might be John Cena's last WrestleMania. So it might be a good excuse to retire both of them, definitively retire Undertaker and John Cena. So I don't know. I don't think it should happen, but it's going to happen anyway. So maybe it'll be a good retirement match for both of them, but not 100% looking forward. I'm still going to see it if I can, but I don't know. That's a weird match. But nothing can take away over the legacy of The Undertaker. He's been doing it for many, many years, and there's really, really no character like him that can personify this dead man like the way that he does. And he stayed in character. That's when I saw the 50 years of WWE. I was surprised that The Undertaker was giving an interview like a human, because I'm so used to seeing him, like the dead man. But yeah, that was weird. But yeah, definitely recommend Tombstone: The History of The Undertaker. I give this a solid 10. It doesn't have a documentary. It's just matches, and if you're a fan of The Undertaker, that's what you want to see anyway. So that's pretty cool. So definitely give that one a 10. Highly recommend it. Again, I don't know how easy it would be for you to find it, but definitely recommend that one. Well, but that was my review of Tombstone: The History of The Undertaker. Thanks so much for watching this video review. Hope you enjoy these wrestling video reviews, because I enjoy doing them. I enjoy talking about wrestling, and I'm hoping I can do a couple of more in the future. But until then, this was the Vargas, recording live from the squared circle in the Vargas Vault. 'Cause Vargas 316 says, like, subscribe, and leave a channel. Yeah, leave a comment. I don't even know what I'm talking about. No. Ah!